Hello and welcome back to Member Musing, the pivotal podcast series brought to you by the Middle East and North Africa Leisure and Attractions Council. We are here to bring you engaging dialogues regarding the MENA leisure and entertainment sector, as well as spotlight the pioneering products, thrilling offerings, and amazing accomplishments of Menalac members. Now, today, joining me is a very special guest. Welcome to Dr. Alaa Ezz, Secretary General of the Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce. Dr. Alaa, it's a pleasure to have you on Member Musing.
It's my pleasure, and I look forward to promoting Menalac activities.
Exactly. Now, you're here to discuss a collaborative event that's been organised by Menalac, but is also under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, the Prime Minister of Egypt, and also in association with the Federation of Egyptian Chambers of Commerce, or FEDCOC, as I'm sure we'll probably call it throughout this podcast. This event is Menalac's Focus on Egypt, and it's taking place in Cairo on the 10th and 11th of December 2024. We will come to more specific details of this event in a little bit, but Dr. Alaa, I'd love to hear from you about the overall leisure landscape in Egypt. Now, fueled by growth in tourism, hospitality, entertainment, it's estimated that Egypt's leisure, entertainment and amusement sector will grow from $2.9 billion in 2024 to $3.7 billion in 2028, which is really only just 3 years away. Dr. Alaa, what factors do you feel have contributed to the growth of the leisure and entertainment industry in Egypt over the past several years? And what specific steps are the Egyptian government taking to further drive the development of the LEA industry?
First, Egypt has, how to put it, a multi-sectorial approach to leisure industry. Egypt has 2,000 kilometers of beautiful beachfronts, both on the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. So that's one side. Cairo is the city that never sleeps, which is catering to our friends from the Gulf. We have touristic attractions, the Grand Museum, augmenting tens of museums covering 7,000 years of Egyptian history. We have new technologies coming into the market, like the Cairo Eye, which is the big wheel that will be in Zamalek at center of Cairo. We have, besides that, tens of compounds, mega malls that are catering to different types of tourists as well as visitors coming to Egypt. So from all aspects, Egypt has a lot to offer, and Egypt is a destination for tourism. And let's not forget that we have 100 million Egyptians who are already tourists moving and mingling around within the country.
You pointed that out exactly, Dr. Alaa. The whole world, has known Egypt as an international destination with the pyramids and the museums and the history that you've got, as well as, the bit of relaxation, as you've mentioned, on the sort of coastal areas. But what about your local residents and citizens? What are you seeing? Have they still have the same tastes in leisure and entertainment offerings over the past few decades? Do you see it changing, like we are seeing globally as well as in the MENA region? What kind of things do you feel your locals are maybe calling out for?
Egypt has witnessed a tsunami, actually, of change in the past less than 10 years, in the past decades, practically. Beaches has been traditional, but today we're having water parks on the beaches, we're having marinas, we're having huge number of touristic clusters. This is augmenting what we have as hotels. So it's no longer Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada and Gona only. Today, the Mediterranean is becoming a major destination. We have major airports that are being created. The mega project of Ras Al Hikma, which is an Emirati investment of almost $34 billion that's coming up. So we're seeing a lot of changes in that direction. Regarding shopping, which is becoming a trend, whether we're talking about tourists or local Egyptians, we're having the biggest malls in the world established in Egypt, the Mall of Arabia, the Mall of Egypt, mega malls created all around the country, and new trends in touristic entertaining. One of them is the adventure tourism, which we've never witnessed before. Today, this is attraction for both Egyptians as well as foreigners, whether desert safaris, or we're talking about bird watching and all the types of things that are under the category of adventure tourism. Culinary tourism is growing tremendously. We have almost 4% of the tourists coming to Egypt are to taste the flavor of Egyptian cuisine, which is another element that's coming up. We're even moving the kitchen into the restaurants where the visitors would share the chefs in cooking. So it's learn to cook Egyptian, another trend that's coming up. And then we have the family tourism, which is catering to the Egyptians mostly, where we're having all the new types of entertainments that the family leisure business is growing tremendously throughout the whole country. It started in Cairo, then Alexandria, then we're witnessing it in the beach resorts in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. And now it's spreading throughout the whole country, catering to the 100 million Egyptians, as well as the millions of tourists that come to Egypt. Then the business of conferences and festivals, which is expanding tremendously over the past period. And let's not forget that Egypt is simply a walking museum. The whole country is a museum wherever you walk. So whether you're interested in recreation, in simple leisure, in being on the beach, in shopping, or enjoying the history of Egypt, whether we're talking about the Pharaonic history, the Coptic history, the Islamic history, the modern history, all of them are catering to different types of clientele, whether local Egyptians or our visitors from the whole world.
Really interesting stuff there, Dr. Alaa. And just as you said at the top of this episode there's so many different sectors for yourself, for the country, the government, and actually for brands to consider as well. I think that's some brilliant insight for our listeners, and also for anyone interested in bringing an entertainment offering to Egypt. And obviously that's something that will be discussed at the Menalac Focus on Egypt event. But I think understanding Egypt's, as a country, its position, climate-wise, you've just said there about the weather. You're in a great position. You're not too hot, as some of the other Gulf countries are. And you get some great weather, even more towards the summer. But then you've got such different landscapes, different communities. You've got your city-based Cairo, and so your more coastal communities that you've mentioned. So actually, maybe I can imagine an entertainment brand needing to really consider location, and then the community that they would be serving locally, as well as perhaps what kind of tourists came into that space. Very interesting. You spoke about food there as well. I have some Egyptian friends, and they're always talking about food. So I guess that is a part of the Egyptian experience, as well as leisure and the history, that you've talked about as well. So I could pick your brains a lot more, but I don't have time on the sectors. But that is something. Will that be something, Dr. Alaa, that will be discussed in more detail at the Menalac Focus on Egypt event? What types of things will attendees learn at this Focus on Egypt event?
This event, thanks to Menalac, will be a melting pot, bringing together regulators, governments, so no less than the Prime Minister, the relevant ministers, Minister of Tourism, Minister of Housing, and the various government officials, with the developers, whether we're talking about touristic developers or real estate developers, which is one of the key elements in the package, along with the brands and the operators of the different leisure types of leisure businesses, and more important, the equipment and machinery providers. All of them will be together, first in a number of plenaries where we'll be discussing the regulations, the macro elements of the leisure business, and then we'll break down into workshops covering specific elements. Number one is health and safety. This is for everybody is of utmost importance. Then we'll start going into sectors, whether marinas, whether water, family entertainment, and various elements of the leisure business. And throughout, and I expect it will be a merry-go-round where people will be running between the different breakout sessions to get a glimpse of the potential, the opportunities, and there'll be huge matchmaking, whether pre, during, and after. And this will be followed up by field visits for the visitors to see what's happening on the ground in Egypt, to understand what is the real business opportunities. One extra thing that we're adding that's not in the Menalac concept, which is access to finance. One of the important elements in Egypt, any company that's established in Egypt has access to over $22 billion of grants, loans, and preferential technical assistance provided by different donors, different development banks, and institutions. And all of this will be an opportunity for everybody to cooperate. We believe in co-opetition, where everybody will cooperate, compete, yet collaborate together.
It sounds jam-packed, and I am aware, Dr. Alaa, of some of the program, but just hearing you talk about it and describe it and all the different things, it is going to be quite a whirlwind, but a vital one. I can't imagine people who are really excited about developing the leisure and entertainment industry here in the MENA region missing out. You can't possibly miss out on this. What an opportunity to hear straight from people like yourself, ministers, the Prime Minister, about exactly their aim, and what a few things you've touched upon today in terms of the various sectors and the types of offerings that you want to be providing for locals and tourists, in the future. So to be able to be in a room with all of these people, as well as network, you've just talked about developers being there, and what a great opportunity to sort of have all of these leisure professionals, big names as well, to talk about the future of Egypt's leisure landscape is super exciting. What are you excited about, Dr. Alaa? Anything in particular about the two-day event that you're excited to see? What kind of, do you have any specific outcomes for the event?
In all our events, we simply try to walk the talk. The event is a lot of talk, but by the end of the day, we have to come out with practical results. We're lucky through Menalac, its members, which are the Fortune 100 developers of the Arab world, of the Middle East, along with their counterparts in Egypt. They'll be together with the operators, with the equipment providers. And I think this blending pot will help in creating newer types of attractions throughout the country. We expect in the very short period, because our message is simply increase the value, the real estate value of your development, simply by having leisure attractions in it. And this is a message that everybody understood when they saw the mega developments that has happened. The most successful ones are the ones that are catering to various leisure instruments to their chosen clientele. because it depends on the target audience that you're catering to. So we expect to see practical results. We expect to have more business. And I expect that the figure you mentioned at the start, 3.7 by 2028, is a little bit pessimistic. I expect that through Menalac will be doubling what we have today.
Well, absolutely. That's, just an estimate based on what we know already, and opportunities like this event, and just Menalac in general, actually, the kind of community it has, and the networking it offers and creates, international brands, developers, suppliers, consultants, designers, innovators, really helps have them cast their whole eye over the MENA region. We've seen in the past 20 to 30 years how Dubai has developed itself. And now, people are excited about Saudi Arabia, but focus on Egypt is really going to give people that insight early on, to really understand your vision, and so everyone can work together. I know there's a vision 2030, and I'm sure that is something that's constantly is part of your day-to-day, Dr. Alaa, as Secretary General of FEDCOC. I'm sure you're always quoting things. Let's come to FEDCOC. What are there any other sort of initiatives and projects that the Federation has planned? Maybe there's more collaborations in terms of how you can support the growth of the leisure and tourism industry for Egypt?
First, we as Federation, we have 5 million members, from the smallest trader to the National Bank of Egypt and everything in between. So everybody in the leisure business is our member. So practically our mobilization capacity of bringing all the stakeholders together is important. Being the first Egyptian member in Menalac is important because it is the technology provider, the know-how provider, the networking provider with the global audience as well as the regional audience. We have a number of projects for promoting sustainable tourism, for promoting different types of tourism, culinary tourism, adventure tourism. These are implemented with our partners in the European Union, funded by the European Commission. So we are blending everything that we have, what we call capitalization, bringing the finance, the technology, the know-how, the operators together. And this is a mandate that we are focusing on. In fact, that in the very near future, we'll be reaping the fruit of what we're sowing today.
I can imagine the Federation and yourself constantly busy, but constantly excited with opportunity, even outside of leisure and tourism and all the other sectors that you look at as well. How long have you been Secretary General?
That's long enough. I've been for about 18 years now. So that's long enough. It's my baby. I'm also Secretary General of the Union of African Chambers, as well as the Union of Mediterranean Chambers. And here is where we're blending. For example, in the Menalac focus on Egypt, we're mobilizing our partners and friends and stakeholders from Morocco, Tunisia, from all the Mediterranean countries to expand and have them benefit, because we believe that first you have to attract tourists and interested stakeholders and investors to the region. And then once they come to the region, we start fighting together who gets them. But first they have to come to the region. And this is where our collaborative cooperation, whether through Menalac, whether through the Union of Arab Chambers, the Union of Mediterranean Chambers, this is our day and night work.
I think, that's great to kind of understand a little bit more. It's not just about one individual developer. It's not about an exciting entertainment brand. There are so many other people involved in the entertainment industry, whether that's globally, regionally, or just specific to one country like Egypt. There are people like FEDCOC, like Menalac, other chambers also working alongside to build that community. And it's such a exciting collaboration. I would love to be there. I would love to see the buzz. I'm picturing the buzz of everybody there, excited to learn, excited to explore. I know there are some behind the scenes opportunities to see what's currently working and entertaining customers in Egypt. So Menalac Explores, a part of Egypt. I just think, as I say, why would you miss out on this opportunity? And it sounds like you're excited as well, and there's so much to offer and so much to learn.
The ones missing out are the losers because you have to follow the trend, and the trend is very visible. There are new trends today in the entertainment business, and if you do not upgrade and modernize and start catering, other regions are moving forward, and you will be losing a lot of the tourism as well as local business.
Egypt, is part of this Middle East and North Africa region, but all the countries are different. And even a larger country like Egypt, and you've already said there are different interests, depending on location. So you can't just assume that one thing which has worked in one area is going to work in another. So this opportunity to kind of explore um, and learn firsthand to really, step up Egypt's game, and then as a brand, owner, elevate my own brand, I think is super important. Um, we could talk so much more, Dr. Alaa, but I'm going to encourage our listeners to go to the Menalac website, to read that full day program for themselves, and of course to buy a ticket. They can get the opportunity to talk to people like yourself, the Prime Minister. You've also mentioned other ministers, as well as obviously networking with other perhaps international developers, but also local, I think, which is important as well. Local businesses, these are the people that know the landscape already. And as I say, I'm excited to hear after the event as to how it went, as I'm sure we all are.
I'm looking forward to having all your audience and all Menalac members coming to Egypt, the land of opportunities. We're 1 million square kilometers, 100 million inhabitants, tens of millions of tourists. So it's a huge business opportunity for all to make money, flourish, and it's a stepping stone to the region. It's not only Egypt, but you can move also from Egypt with your local partners to neighboring countries where already Egyptian developers are working very intensively in neighboring countries.
Absolutely. Dr. Alaa, thank you so much for taking time out of what I know will be it's a busy time for you, particularly with not just, Menalac's event, but all the other things that you do as Secretary General for FEDCOC. Thank you for being on Member Musing, and your insight has been brilliant. Even just a slight insight into what is going on in Egypt, and our listeners can definitely find out more. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks to you, and it's been a pleasure.
So, as I've mentioned, audience, please go to Menalac's website. We will put the link in the description section of this episode. There, you can learn the full 2-day program for Menalac's Focus on Egypt, understand who will be there, what you will learn, and what you can explore as well. Of course, and where you can buy an all-important ticket. There are limited spaces, I've been told, so do hurry. The event is taking place on the 10th and 11th of December this year. So hurry to the website, get a ticket, and get your travel plans booked to Egypt. I will be back soon with another guest to discuss all things leisure and entertainment. But until then, make sure you're caught up on all our podcast episodes. You can find them all on Menalac's website, as well as Menalac Digital on YouTube and on Spotify. Make sure you're following all of Menalic's social media platforms to stay informed on the latest news, developments, and events across the MENA attractions sector. Goodbye for now.